It's nice to meet you all. First off, I'm excited as to the number of young persons here. My name is Peace Odili, as you've heard. And my presentation is as to curiosity, the spark to discovery. Before I go ahead, thank you to TEDxYabaStreet organizers for the invitation. I'm going to be saying a lot of things, right? So I need you to pay attention and follow me so that you don't miss, And after we're done, I'm most likely going to ask questions. So please try to be as attentive as you can. Curiosity, the spark to discovery. Yeah, that's me. A lot of you are probably wondering how I got here, right? As you can see from the picture, there's an activity going on. So this was the wedding ceremony a little over a year ago. And at this wedding ceremony, I only knew 4 persons. The bride, the maid of honor, and 2 other persons that we attended high school together. Now, because of how I interacted with the crowd, imagine just going to a wedding ceremony and you know only 4 persons. It's easy for you to go to a corner and mind your business, or just talk to only 2 or 3 persons that you know. But then it was time to dance, and when work is always stressful, when you have an opportunity to relax, you take advantage of it. So I was gingering everybody to join in the dance, right? Like, it's a wedding, why are you all standing? And then the MC walked up to me to say, with your attitude and your interaction, can you please choreograph a dance? And then in my mind, I'm like, okay, no problems. All I needed to do was to stand in front of a group of people, do a particular dance, and they all follow me, right? That was easy. And then we started. So as in the picture, you can see that everybody was doing the same style. And then after we were done, everybody was really happy. And thank you. Even after the wedding, someone else saw me later and was like, you were the lady that choreographed the dance. And it made sense, right? So now that I have your attention, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've been told that I have the curiosity of a child. Growing up, I always had questions. I would ask a million questions in a million ways. If you do not explain something for me to understand, I'm not going to stop. So I was that inquisitive. Mother was worried because she felt like I was going to fall into the wrong hands. She was very particular about who I was talking to, what meeting do I attend, who my friends are, because she's like, you, this girl, your mouth is too sharp. But father actually fanned my curiosity. He would answer my question. There was no stupid question. All I needed to do was to walk up to my father to say this, even when I know that the question is somehow stupid, but he still answers it right. And then growing up, as I matured, I learned what was worth it and what was not. I learned what to focus my attention on. I learned what needed my time and what needed for me to not engage. And as time went on, I eventually found out what my spark is. From this picture, can anyone guess what my spark is? Anyone? Just say something. Can you guess? Arts. Wrong. Any more? One more. Just one more and then we go ahead. Music. You tried because I like music, but that's not it for this presentation. You're close, but that's still not it. So, now from this picture, you can see that my spark is people. Over the years, yes, I'm a lawyer. I was called to the Nigerian bar in 2013. And when I am asked, so what do you want to be? Do you want to be an SAN, Senior Advocate of Nigeria? Or what do you want to own your chambers? Or what do you actually want to be? I usually say I want to be a lecturer. And then when you ask, why do you want to be a lecturer? In fact, I've been told that you, lecturer in Nigerian university, you'll be all right. But then, when you ask me, why do you want to be a lecturer? What comes to my mind, or what I say, is that I want to be able to have access to young people. I want to be able to have access to their minds. I personally believe that life is beautiful and colorful when you engage with other humans. Imagine if everyone was like me. It would be too predictable. There's nothing interesting about it because I know how I react to things, I know how I am. And imagine meeting someone that is exactly like that. There's no fun to it, right? But then, imagine you meet someone that is exactly opposite of what you are or who you are. Remember I talked about how I was curious. So my curiosity spanned to people. I'm asking questions. I genuinely want to know you, sincerely. There is no agenda, there is no motive. I just want to enjoy your person. I just want to know what makes you tick, what makes you interesting. Why are you the way you are? What makes you behave the way you behave? Why? 3 reasons. Number 1, like I said, to enjoy your person. Let life be as beautiful as it is, right? Secondly, to be able to enable you to be the best version of yourself. I don't really like to use the word help because help sometimes connotes the fact that you're doing someone a favor. That's really not my thing. Secondly, I really don't like to label things. I don't like when you put a name to things and then, because these things are relative, right? But then, I would like as much as possible to create an enabling environment that makes you the best version of yourself. When young people come to my office to have a conversation, the first thing I do is to gist with them, give them nicknames. Let them forget the very well-prepared presentations and speeches that they've had because that is rehearsed, in my opinion. So I gist with them, hear what they have to say, give them nicknames based on the first impression that I have of them, right? The first time I met the organizer of TEDx, I called him a lecturer because he was carrying a bag and then he looked all serious, And then, like that, at the end of conversations with young people eventually, I realized that they are disarmed. Now we gist. So what they came to my office to do, it now becomes a recommendation. Oh, we want to do this. What do you think about this? Do you think it makes sense to do it this way or should we do it that way? And then it becomes mutual. So you don't now come with your rehearsed sentences to tell me you want me to do this. Now I am understanding why you want to do this. And I am giving you more scenarios, more opinions, more ideas as to how you can do it better. Now, number 3 of the reasons why I like to enjoy people or why I like to, it's also because of recommendations. Tomorrow, because I know your person and I've been able to understand a few things of what you do, I can recommend you to someone that exactly needs you. Now, I worked with somebody in 2017 on Nigerian Women Techstars project, a project sponsored by Microsoft. And this guy, he has a non-profit mentality, he has a growth mentality. He trained, although it was for a very small amount, but he was very dedicated with it. Like he really taught the girls. He was really very, he won, I think he even won the best, the award for the best tutor. Now, fast forward to 2022. I met him recently and then we just greeted and he was like, oh, he would like to work with me again and all of that, right? Now, a firm in Canada needed me to recommend somebody, a front-end developer that could work with them. And then I recommended this guy. And he reached out, the firm reached out to him, but later came back to tell me that he's too expensive. I should recommend someone else. So I recommended 3 other persons. Now, the interesting thing about this is because I know what the firm is about and what they want to do, I knew that this first person I recommended was fit. Remember how when I meet you, I want to genuinely know you. It doesn't have anything to do with what you can offer me. I just want to understand who you are. And I recommended those 3 persons and then they came back after 2 weeks to say that they eventually hired the first guy. And I'm like, I told you. Now remember how I said no motive. And because you know that I do not have a motive, you're usually your best self around me. Maybe best self is not the right word, but you're usually yourself around me because you know that, oh, you're not trying to impress me. There's no way that you can't see anything wrong, so there's no fear of rejection, there's no, so it's easy for me to be able to pick you out, right? And then that passed. Now to this picture. This was early in the year and this was a tech training for women at the Akure Tech Hub in Futa. And here, one of the ladies was doing a group presentation. You can see the different interactions in the pictures, right? You had persons taking pictures, you had persons smiling and all. Now, if you look at my face, I want to be able to say that you can pick out genuine interest. Now, I wasn't listening per se to what she was presenting because, again, remember how I said most conversations are rehearsed, right? I was listening to what she wasn't saying. You know how I said I like to interact with people. Now, I was listening very intently to know what other thing is she capable of aside the presentation. Now, let me use an example. There's a presentation here, right? And she was presenting something on tech. There are two things to point out. Number one, interest. You will know if she was actually very interested in what she was presenting, or it was just something that she needed to do for her group. Number two, you can pick out her speaking prowess to see, oh, this person just needs a little bit of nudging. This person just needs a little bit of training to be better at what she does. And with that, you're able to connect her to people who would help her speak, to opportunities where she most likely will have to do more presentation. The third thing you could easily pick out from there is her thoroughness. You know, is she jumping things, or is she trying to just run through the loops so she can be done with the presentation? You know, there are different things to pick out, and that was what was going on here. Now, over time, remember how I said I wanted to be a lecturer, but here I am. Since 2013 till now, I'm not a lecturer. In fact, I've not even had my master's. But I've had access to young people, a lot of young people. My job, several roles that I've had to be in, I've had to take up project management in varying degrees, and I've always had to work with young people, volunteers, staff, contract staff, male, female, and believe you me, human beings have beautiful minds. I really need you to understand that you might not look like it today. Nobody most likely is giving you attention or even making you feel important, but there is a beautiful thing about you. You just need to be able to take your time to understand and be around persons who would bring it out. Now, over time, I've been able to identify who my firecrackers are, my wrecking balls, my billboards, my lighthouses. You know, I've been able to know, I have staff who I just want them to come to my office because they make me laugh. In all the busyness and in all the deadlines, there's always somebody that is just pestering you and calling your name a million times to say nothing and just make you laugh. I have more of Gen Zs, right? And the funny thing or the interesting thing about Gen Zs is how the way they think, it's very interesting. There was one day, my comms lead, she was writing something. She was supposed to do a presentation, and then I went close to her to say, so how far what you're writing? And then she says, Miss Peace, I've written street. And then I'm confused. You've written street. How? And then she shows me and says, see, my writing is very straight. There's no line, but my writing is and I'm like, so this is street? And then she says, yes, that is what it is. Now, I laughed, right? And since then, I've been using it as an example to say, imagine someone telling me that you've written street. And literally what you wanted to tell me is that you're doing well. You know, so it's really very interesting to have persons that think the way they think. And it has helped me to be able to pick teams for work, because you have interesting people who bring several things to the table. Now, remember how I initially said that I do not like to label things. Now, with all of my stories, I'm here now to give you 4 rules. I'm calling it rules, right? But please call it whatever it is that works for you. Rules, pointers, principles, you know, whatever it is. So, here I am charging you, like I said, rules, pointers. And the first of it is your curiosity has to be tied to genuinity. You have to be genuine about your interest. Because I am very, very particular about people and I really want to know them, I take my time to sit with them to get them. Now, it doesn't mean that so far it's been smooth sailing. I've been burned. I've been trampled upon. I've been taken advantage of. But you know what does not stop? When I recover, I continue my quest of looking for people. I continue my quest of wanting to work with people. Because why? It's actually a genuine interest. With no motive, with no agenda. I just want to understand why you are who you are. Remember how I said I grew up with a father that found my curiosity? So I want you to ask me questions. My team members know that my opinion is not the final answer. I want to know why you think that what I want to do would not work. And give me reasons why it will not work. And yes, why not? I like to be able to understand, what do you think about this thing? Let's all put heads together. That's the whole purpose of being in a team, right? Everybody has, and then you can say that we all did this together. Now, again, back to what I was saying about genuineness. It is only genuinity that would make you do something 99 times to be able to get it the 100th time. Again, it doesn't matter what happens. You just want to do this. Imagine liking rice. I know there are a lot of persons here that like to eat rice. You can eat rice every day. You don't get tired because you enjoy eating rice. Tie your curiosity to genuineness. Find out what specifically you are interested in, that you're genuine with, something that regardless of what happens, it won't stop. Number 2, you have to tie your curiosity to value, to impact. Because if it is about money, one day you will meet somebody that would insult you because you're asking for money. Tomorrow, you will meet someone else that will make you feel less of yourself because of how you approach them. Tie it to value, because it is when you tie it to value that you would wake up every day to want to do that thing. It is when you tie it to value that even when you do not get the reward for the hard work or for whatever effort you put into the team, you want to do it again. It is only value that will help you to sustain it, because regardless of where you are planted, all you want to do is to be able to create value. Look at how I said I've been born and trampled upon, but still, I still am interested in humans. Now, it's a bit refined now because I do not have the time to accommodate everyone. But from the first conversation with you, 2-3 sentences, I can already pick 1 or 2 things that I enjoy about you. It tilted me to psychology. Again, I just want everyone to be their best self. I just want you to not think that, oh, if I say this woman will probably not answer me. Or if I do this, I probably will be perceived this way. It doesn't matter what you're perceived as. There's no right or wrong in being who you are. You're just going to have to learn to be the better version, to be the best version of yourself. What was number 1? And what was number 2? So, number 3 brings me to, you have to be able to carve a niche for yourself. So, when you see me, I'm a lawyer, right? And then I've had to practice for a few years. But the first thing when you meet me that you will be able to identify is project management. For every project, for everything that needs to be done, there's always somebody that would help with the planning, that would help with the execution. Please, just in case you've not heard everything I've said before, please hear this. You cannot know everything. You have not been designed to know everything. It's sweet to know a little bit of everything, but you cannot know everything. Do you know why? That's where you have that saying that master of all trade, right? Master of all trade, jack of none. Because jack of all trades, master of none, yes. Because you just know plenty things. We cannot say that you're an expert in this. You have to be able to carve a niche for yourself that when anything is being said in that particular area, your name comes up. Your name doesn't have to be number 1, it doesn't have to be number 2, but who is counting anyways? As long as somebody remembers you when that thing is mentioned. So, as much as you go through your learning curve in life, you know how I've talked about genuinity, genuine interest. I've talked about value. Now, join these together and put it into that niche for yourself. I was at an event before I came here today, and one question that came up was thought leadership. Now, thought leadership has a lot of things to do with expertise. You have to be an expert in your field. But there was one thing I said, you can't be an expert in your field in one day. You have to have failed. You have to have tried. You have to have done things severally for you to be called an expert. Elon Musk that we know today, do you think that it happened in one day? It took years. Learning, unlearning, training, retraining, that is it about identifying that area, that specific part that interests you. Because you will keep learning. You will keep learning in that area. Remember, there was all this craze about cryptocurrency at some point, and everybody was just buying Bitcoin. And then when it started dipping, you now started hearing the dip has dipped you. Now, if only it took persons, you took your time to sit down to study the market, to understand what cryptocurrency is, or because you heard somebody has cashed out, you are looking for the money. You don't even know jack about it. Now, you decide to give your money to somebody that will trade for you because you are not a trader. And at the same time, it affected the person as well. You can't even fight the person because before you took your money to the... Why did you not do a research to know these things for yourself? What am I trying to say? When you identify the place that works for you, you take your time and learn. You look for resources. You talk to persons who are in that circle. You keep being around. Why? Because you want to keep learning. Because you want to ensure that you are an expert. Even if you're not an expert, let's say expert is a strong word, but then you're somebody that somebody can walk up to say, do you know stuff about this? Can you teach me? You don't even have to teach 100 people. Teach 3 persons. Those 3 persons will recommend you to another 3 persons, and that is the beauty of life. That is how these things progress. Again, number 1. Number 2. Number 3. I told you I had 4, right? So this 4th one sums up the 3. This number 4 is be so good that you can recreate it. Have you not heard of situations when people lose stuff because someone stole it from them? Everybody is guarding their ideas because copyright, this, that. But then do you know the interesting thing? If you know something so well, regardless of the number of times that it's been stolen from you, you can recreate it and add something else to it that makes it different from what was stolen. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That is why you have to know it so well, so that in the case that you have to recreate it, you are adding something else. You know how a lot of people do the same things these days, but you're always looking for one person. Why? Because of the uniqueness about it. Because there is something that this person has that the others in that field do not have. I used to like to tell humans that if you want to be black, be so black and make charcoal jealous. And if you want to be white, be so white that snow would require your attention. Let me take it again. If you want to be black, be so black that charcoal will be jealous. If you want to be white, be so white that snow will seek you out for your attention. Please, as much as possible, a lot of young persons, a lot of us are always about the validation. You just want, the flowers will not always come, but you have to keep at it. Why? Because it is something that you're interested in. Have you not seen people that they want to become lawyers, and then the first choice that the university is giving them is maybe history or English? They go through it, but they still go back to school because what? They want to be law. They want to become lawyers. You have to learn how to do it in tears. You have to learn how to do it in pain. You have to learn how to do it when someone is singing your praises or when you're getting validated. You have to learn how to do it when nobody is even saying anything at all. You know why? Because it is just a matter of time. You know how they say a patient dog eats the fattest bone? I'm here to let you know that the patient dog that eats the fattest bone is not usually the dog that sits down and waiting for a fat bone to come. They're probably at an abattoir, walking around. One day, one bone will come. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. You have to keep doing something while you're waiting for what you want. Keep at it. Keep doing something. Ensure that your mind is engaged in that thing. Because more often than not, when the validation comes, when the time comes, you're not prepared. So one of the reasons why you're doing this thing is to be able to ensure that when the platform comes, when the stage comes, you are prepared. Identify the persons that work for you. Identify the persons that spoil you. Be in communities. Do a lot of things. Enjoy life. You know, there's a lot of pressure, as you know how they say adulthood is calm. There's a lot of pressure growing up. This time when you seem to be able to have time to do several things, dabble in a lot of things, lose things, you know, get lost and find your way. And here, if you check my fingers, there is this. Usually, what does this sign mean? Here is wishing you peace on your journey to discovery. Thank you.